Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to this Greatest Royal Rumble preview and predictions video. I am super excited for this show. I think the card is absolutely stacked. We're getting a ladder match, we're getting a cage match, we're getting a casket match, we're getting a 50-man Royal Rumble. There's John Cena against Triple H. It is literally all kicking off. And it is kicking off in the newspapers as well, and the news outlets, not always for the right reasons. There's a lot of excitement about the show, but the fact that there are no women on this card has really upset a lot of people. Saudi Arabia just don't allow that. Saudi Arabia just don't want women wrestling, and so as a result there are no women's matches. There's no women's Greatest Royal Rumble. And as I said, it's caused a lot of outrage. I think it's right that they do this show. And I think it's right that they have this agreement with Saudi Arabia. But what WWE should be doing, and I think that they are, Triple H touched on it earlier this week, is working very hard to try and change this. There's no way this 10-year agreement can continue if at no point there is not going to be a women's match. If that's the end result, then they need to terminate this agreement. And actually, I would probably go as far as to not watch these Saudi Arabia shows. So they absolutely need to get women on this card because it's oppressive and it's not right in this day and age. Everyone's got their own beliefs and whatever. That's absolutely fine. But I don't think you can support something like this, as a level-headed human being where men are allowed to do all these things and women aren't. That's not acceptable in my book. So, yeah, this is a big issue and I understand why all the news outlets have picked up on it. As I said, there's people I know that won't be watching this show as a result of this. I am. I'm watching it. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to be doing reaction videos, all that kind of stuff. But I'm also keeping a very close eye on what WWE are doing to change this situation because this situation must be changed. They did it in the UAE. Sasha Banks against Alexa Bliss. First women's wrestling match there. I believe that was last year. And, the crowd were chanting, "This is hope." So, they can do it, and it's going to take a lot of work, and I'm happy to stick with it for now. That's the controversy surrounding this show. That's my feelings on it as well. I'm sure you all have your own personal opinions. But let's get straight to the card, shall we? And let's start with the casket match. This is Undertaker against Chris Jericho. I'm joking. It's not Chris Jericho. Of course it isn't. It is Rusev. It was Undertaker Rusev. Then it was Undertaker Chris Jericho. Now it's gone back to Undertaker versus Rusev. Who knows what it will be by the time the show actually starts. Whoever it is, they're losing because The Undertaker is picking up the win. There is no way The Undertaker loses this match. I say that because I don't think he's competed in Saudi Arabia before. He's one of the biggest names in wrestling. The fans are going to be really excited to see him live, as anybody would. And are you really going to put a dampener, a downer, on the whole event by having him lose? No, I don't see him doing that. So I think Rusev and Aiden English are both going into that casket courtesy of the dead man. Next match that we need to have a look at, John Cena versus Triple H. Now, sadly, there's nothing on the line for this. There's been no build for this. There's no grief between these two. It is literally just a straight-up match featuring two of the all-time greats, two of the biggest names in wrestling. I think that this is going to be really good for Triple H because Triple H is going to be in the ring with someone that can really work. I mean, John Cena has put on great match after great match after great match. And I know a lot of people say that's because of who John Cena is facing. Well, John Cena is facing Triple H. So however you want to look at it, I expect this to be a really good match. I think John Cena wins. Again, very similar to my thinking with The Undertaker. I think John Cena is such a big global brand that you just can't have him lose. You know, you need that feel-good moment. So I think John Cena will win here. Next up, we got the Cruiserweight Championship. We got the current champion, Cedric Alexander, taking on Kalisto. Cedric Alexander went through a tournament to get to the final to compete for this title, and he did so at WrestleMania against Mustafa Ali. Cedric Alexander won, and I don't think he's going to lose the title so soon. And not to someone like Kalisto, who, you know, no disrespect, I just don't see taking this division forward. Cedric Alexander might do that. I'm not sure he will do that, but I think he's got more potential to do that than Kalisto. So for me, Cedric Alexander retains. Next, we got the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships. Current champions, the Bludgeon Brothers, are going to take on the former champions, the Usos. And this is going to be quite interesting because will Naomi be ringside? I'm not sure if there's no women on this card at all, or are the women just not wrestling? Because Naomi could come down and provide a distraction like she has been doing on SmackDown, or maybe they just won't have Naomi there at all. I think even if Naomi is there and does provide a distraction, I still think the Bludgeon Brothers are going to retain. Just because I feel like they need the titles at the moment. Like, everyone knows how good the Usos are. They just put on great match after great match after great match. The Bludgeon Brothers are a relatively new team. Certainly under this name they are. And they kind of need to establish themselves and continue to be that, you know, dominant force. I would love for them to be really the tag team equivalent of Braun Strowman. I'd love for them to do like outrageous things, like tipping over commentary tables and tipping over trucks. I mean, not that they're going to do that, but they need to build these guys up, and I don't think you can do that if you take the titles off them. Raw Tag Team Championships now, and of course at WrestleMania we had Braun Strowman and Nicholas, the 10-year-old that Braun plucked out of the crowd as his tag team partner. They became tag team champions. Next night on Raw, they gave up the belts because obviously Nicholas has to go to school. So yeah, it was a fun little segment. I enjoyed that whole little storyline. But now we need new champions, and this is the final of a tournament. Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy, the deleter of worlds, taking on the Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro. This is easy. This is easily going to be Bray and Matt that win, because the Bar are now on SmackDown Live, so they can't win the Raw Tag Team Championships and take them to SmackDown Live. That just wouldn't work. So surely they're going to put the titles on Bray and Matt and keep the Raw Tag Team Championships on Raw. Next up, you got the United States Championship. We've got current champion Jeff Hardy taking on former champion Jinder Mahal. Now, I think this is pretty straightforward again, because Jeff Hardy is a SmackDown Live superstar, and that championship, that United States Championship, is really a SmackDown Live championship. I don't see it going to Raw. I think it will stay on SmackDown Live. I think that Jeff Hardy will retain. So with that being said, when it comes to the Intercontinental Championship, this is a ladder match. This at the moment is a fatal four-way. So 4 guys are competing to win the Intercontinental Championship, which they will do so if they climb the ladder, reach up, and the first person to get that belt wins the title. Current champion Seth Rollins is defending against Finn Bálor, defending against The Miz, and defending against Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is a very bad man, let me tell you. He is mean and moody, and he would be my pick to win this, but he is now on SmackDown Live. So is The Miz. So with that being said, I think it will either be Seth Rollins or Finn Bálor, and I am going to say that Seth Rollins retains. Big rumours as well, actually, that Seth is going to be taking on Jinder Mahal in a feud later this year. Not sure if that's going to be for the Intercontinental Championship, but it would make sense if it was. So I can see Seth retaining. I can see Jinder not winning the United States Championship, and then that maybe will lead to that feud. So just a few more matches to go, and how about this one? The WWE Championship match. Current champion AJ Styles taking on Shinsuke Nakamura. This has been one of the best character transformations I have seen in quite some time. Shinsuke Nakamura was absolutely beloved by people. Really was very, very popular. And then at WrestleMania, he turned on the crowd. He turned on AJ Styles, and now he's become a heel. He's cheating in matches, delivering low blows, changed his music. It's wonderful to see. He's doing a fantastic job. He will definitely be WWE Champion at some point. Is that point now, though? I don't think so. I think there's going to be some new champions crowned at this event. And I don't think it will happen here. It could. It might. It's very close. But I just think they might save this for Backlash. We don't know what's being booked for Backlash yet. But I think they'll save something back for then. So I'm going to say that AJ retains. But that brings me nicely to the Universal Championship match. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar inside a steel cage for that Universal Championship. Brock is losing. That is my prediction. Brock has held this title for a year. He is now on a contract where he's getting paid a lot of money for each appearance. And I just don't think they're going to use him that often. They could bring him in as like a big match for SummerSlam, and he doesn't need the title if that's going to be the case. I think it's time to put the belt on Roman. They can do it in Saudi Arabia where he'll get a better response. Everyone was expecting this to happen at WrestleMania. It didn't, and I think it didn't because the plan is that it's going to happen here. So, yeah, I think AJ retains WWE Championship, but Brock loses the Universal Championship. And that brings me to the 50-man Royal Rumble event. This is the biggest Royal Rumble of all time. And as we said, you know, they've called it the Greatest Royal Rumble. It's taking place in Jeddah, and Saudi Arabia. I think it's the King Abdullah Sports City Stadium. I'm super jealous that I'm not there because this 50-man Royal Rumble is going to be absolutely incredible. I've got the list of names here of everyone that's in it. We've got Daniel Bryan, we've got Big Show, we've got Braun Strowman, we've got Kurt Angle, Apollo Crews, Dolph Ziggler, Mojo Rawley, Goldust, Elias, Titus O'Neil, Baron Corbin, Chad Gable, Big E, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, Shelton Benjamin, Sin Cara, Chris Jericho, Bobby Roode, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Shane McMahon, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, the Great Khali, and Mark Henry. That is absolutely stacked. Absolutely stacked. And I think that's around about 26 names or so. So that's only half of the 50-man Royal Rumble that's been announced. There's a few surprises that I'm expecting. And I was trying to think, actually, what surprises could there be? I'm expecting some NXT stars, people like Adam Cole and Aleister Black, I think will make appearances. Might get the United Kingdom champion, Pete Dunne. They might throw in Tyler Bate because he's a big enough name to be included in this. Might get some 205 live guys, people like Brian Kendrick, Gentleman Jack Gallagher, you know, those kind of performers. And then on top of all of that, maybe some legends, maybe the Boogeyman. The Boogeyman was in a Royal Rumble a few years ago, and he made an appearance at Raw 25, so they could get the Boogeyman. Kevin Nash, again, I know that he was in a Royal Rumble not that long ago, so that wouldn't be, you know, that big of a surprise. Not sure that they would medically clear Jerry the King Lawler, but they could. That's a long shot. I don't expect it. I believe he does still wrestle, but I just don't think WWE would clear him to compete. And then I was thinking about maybe the Dudley Boys. They could come out. You know, certainly Bubba Ray could come out and compete. Not so sure about Devon because he does a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but definitely Bubba Ray. Goldberg could be in this because, you know, he had that run last year, and there's no reason as to why they can't pick up the phone and ask for him to come down to Saudi Arabia, you know. I'm sure they would pay him a lot of money because I know WWE's getting paid a lot of money to do this. I would love, this is out there, but I would love Nicholas. 10-year-old Nicholas, Braun Strowman's former tag team partner, former tag team champion. I would love it if they found a way of getting him to come out at the Greatest Royal Rumble. I'm not sure it would get the response from the Saudi Arabian crowd like it would here, but people watching here, I think, would love it. Neville would be awesome. Neville would be awesome. Just for him to make his comebacks. We haven't seen him for so long. So for him to come back at the Greatest Royal Rumble, I think would be very, very cool. Maybe someone new like Ricochet, who's a massive signing for WWE. He's down in NXT, and a lot of people excited about him. The Rock, in particular, is excited about Ricochet. Maybe EC3, who, you know, was former Impact TNA champion. Yeah, there's a lot of names that we can talk about. They're not going to struggle to fill this. Who's winning it, though? That's the thing. At the moment, the prize is a trophy. I'm not sure the winner gets, like, a title shot. It might just be the honour of winning this thing. I think Daniel Bryan. I think Daniel Bryan has been away for a long time. He's been away for 3 years, and they could do with giving him a victory. They could do with giving him something for the crowd to cheer. And imagine that with the show going off the air. Daniel Bryan leading a Saudi Arabian crowd just in massive yes chants. I think it would be really visually impressive. Awesome, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. And hopefully, I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.